on another episode of the Fat Cats Rugby podcast. Today, we're in the midst of, I should say, upcoming rising champions, the people that are in the newspapers, the headliners and the sports section from the rugby fraternity, I should say. The Eagles are champions of the URU Championship, and with that comes promotion to the table of champions, the table of men. They are in the Rugby Premiership, having won against the Warriors 13-0 over the weekend. My name is Ruben Kihumuro, and you are on another episode of the Fat Cats Rugby podcast. And with me is it president or chairman, or is it both? Chairman, president. You might want.
According to Eagles, president. Yes.
But do other rugby clubs have presidents, or they have chairmen?
Other rugby clubs, it's chairman. Yeah. Other rugby clubs, it's chairman.
Okay, so how come yours is a bit different?
You have to be a class separate from others.
Okay, if you say so. So with us today is Kabalega Adam, winning president of Eagles Rugby Club. I think the first thing I'm going to ask you is, final whistle blown, what were the first thoughts that ran through your mind? I know you guys sprinted onto the pitch, carried the coach, and a lot of adrenaline-filled things there, but what really went through your mind at the final whistle?
At the final whistle, I honestly couldn't believe it. This project had started in December 2019, and here we were in 2023, and we are now promoted. I just couldn't believe it at the final whistle. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So, you talked about 2019, December, when this project started. It's been a 4-year project, and I think it's one of the things that I did when I was speaking to a couple of people. I mentioned to them that I was rooting for Warriors, but I felt Warriors was not yet ready, because I feel like it's a process. For what people don't know, prior to that, when Warriors qualified in 2012, I was privileged enough to be part of that team. Warriors had lost 4 finals before. So it takes a lot to have a project that goes on consistently for a period of time. Same players, same everything, getting over those hurdles mentally and physically.
Yeah.
And in 2012, when that happened, it was not just because of what happened in 2012, but because of the culmination of the very many years in which they tried, they attempted, sometimes even stopping at the semi-final stage. Keep in mind, back then, you had to play the last team in the Premiership, so there was that. Take us a bit into that journey of 2019, when this ideally started in December. Where did that idea spark from, and how has the journey been?
So, for those who may not know, I'm actually a very young man. In 2019, I was in Essex in King's College, Budo, and I was privileged enough to be the captain of the rugby team from 2018 to 2019. And I had a friend's dad who was also interested in rugby, but he was a supporter of Namilyango. So that year, we're in the same group as Namilyango, and he was coming to school frequently because we had home and away games against Namilyango. So I saw him quite a lot, and he took keen interest in me. That's Mr. Arthur Company. And when we finished S6 in November 2019, he approached me on the day I finished. He's like, what's your plan with this rugby thing? And as I mentioned earlier in the previous podcast, that my only plan was playing for Pirates, because, I mean, that's the team that had trained me all the rugby I know. And basically, that's where we all planned to go with all my teammates. And he said, just look for me in the following weeks. We later met. I met him with Edmond, and they explained to me their vision, and I joined the project. However, I had to think about it because my mind was in Pirates, but I later went on with their vision, because I also wanted something different for rugby, and it seemed the right path to take. Though it was a very hard one, because really, who wouldn't want to be in Pirates? When you're that young, your mind is only on such teams: Pirates, Cobs, Heathens. Yeah. So at that point, we had no players. It was just the three of us, I would say. Yeah. And by that time, Edmond was still quite busy. So basically, I was with Arthur. And then, starting a rugby club has a lot of paperwork. So we did that paperwork, looking for a pitch which is accessible to many people, accessible to the young boys, the target market who were looking for in players. And Chitante Primary School looked like the best option. And we helped them fix the pitch a little bit. And the school was happy with that. And after that, COVID came. Yeah. So now when COVID came, it was somehow a blessing for us, because I felt like all clubs went back to zero. And it even gave us time for the pitch to flourish, time to think about ideas. And I remember during that time of lockdown, it's actually where you interviewed me on Kratos.
Okay.
And we got some publicity there. The word got out there about Eagles, got some people to come in. And then during that COVID period, we were also able to set up a press conference room in town at Span House, with the branding of our sponsors, though it has just been shifted to Forest Mall. You may ask how we were able to afford that. Our sponsor had some extra room in town, and they gave us that space. By that time, they were called Andrew Shoes and Bags Clinic, but now they're called Company's Shoes and Bags Clinic.
I have seen a number of their billboards around. I can see they're really being intentional about how they are marketing for them as a brand.
Yeah.
Any things you can reveal about how they perhaps plan to use Eagles more in their marketing strategy?
Rugby is a big. It has a lot of people. That's the honest truth. Rugby has a lot of people, and a lot of people who can afford their services, because they do shoe cleaning services, shoe repairs, bag repairs, anything to do with leather. Even your chairs at home, your car seats, basically they can do anything with leather. So I think this service, they realized they hadn't marketed it enough. But with the whole new strategy they're using, they're definitely bringing in more clients, which is of an advantage to them. The more clients that come in for them, hopefully more sponsorship
The better
money
for everyone.
for us. Yeah, so
Yes,
it's
but-
a win-win situation.
Yeah, I do feel like as clubs, for the people I get a chance to talk to, it's always something that we need to think about as club owners. Let's say that you need to find different ways, different aspects in which you can be able to give your sponsor or your partner more value. How are you leveraging off your team, the brand itself? How are you leveraging off the personalities, the players, the coaches within the team? I
Yeah.
believe there are so many other ways, and I believe many of the clubs are still touching the surface. But anyway, as the sport continues to grow, I believe the sponsorship will grow. And also the how we are able to give these sponsors value will grow. But just reflecting, you were talking about the COVID-19
Yeah.
and everything. So you say that bought you some time to be able to get everything in order. So now you get into competitive rugby.
Yeah.
Where did you get the players from, man?
Uh,
Guys barely get players unless you have top dollar these days. That means you either had a lot of money or I don't know.
So basically, um, we sat down and we had to call players.
Okay.
There are these players who are good in high school, but they didn't follow up with rugby after high school. So those are the people we specifically looked for. It was very hard because you had to call each person and explain to them your vision, not just on phone, but in person. So most times we'd meet them at Span House. By then we were located at Span House, and explain to them the vision.
Yeah.
We were also able to get some players from northern Uganda, Mbale.
How are you handling the logistics of that?
So we just don't want these boys to just play rugby. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, when they come to Kampala, we look for them jobs to keep them busy. We have some people working at Company Shoes and Bags Clinic and other places, or some other people. In rugby, there are a lot of people who want to give back to the sport. So we have some people sponsoring a few boys' education, a few, not many. Then a few were sponsored just to start their own small businesses. We have a few working at within the Chitante canteen. So basically, they are getting busy. Yeah, not just rugby only, but they're also gathering other skills when they're in Kampala, so that it's just not only rugby. So that's how we're able to get players. So we called the players within Kampala. Those are the ones who were able to call. Then we're able to scout a few within northern Uganda, Mbale. Yeah. So I think by then we had only our first game actually was UCU Central League, our very first game last year.
Central League last year.
Yeah, Central League last year. That was our first competitive game, and we won it 55. And by that time, we only had one sub, and that sub was Arthur Company himself.
The sponsor was the sub.
The sponsor was the sub. Yeah, so it was that tight, but we got time to win. And last year was quite hard for us. Last year, the Central League was quite big. We were 12 teams, and those were 11 fixtures, all in different locations, the logistics around it. And of course, as time went on, we were bringing in more players. So we're attracting more players. So last season we ended joint third with Stallions. And it was a good season, I would say. Yeah, because in our strategic plan, we plan to win the Central League within 5 years in a realistic manner, because we are going into a growing sport. Yeah, and it's not that easy to get players. So last year ending joint third with Stallions was a big achievement for us, actually above Sailors, where I used to play. So I was more than happy with how last year ended. But of course, last year was a little bit painful on the final. Okay, not the final, but I would say it was the final. The last game was Box versus Eagles. Box was on top and Eagles was second. So we didn't know the politics that would come after that. So we really wanted to win that game, but we were thrashed 33-15. And I think woke up in the last minute. So the players were really hurt, and we had been with them for quite a while. So I think that game of Box versus Eagles at Legends still, it really taught my players what it means to just go to the playoffs. Yeah, not just people, but to just go to the playoffs. And it was a tough moment for them. I can't forget that day. We were actually also still in papers at that time, I remember. Some of us had papers. I had a paper that morning. So yeah, we definitely knew it was going to be a tough battle the following year, which was this year. Yeah, and I think we can see this year went well. It went well beyond above our expectations, which we're happy with. Yeah.
Yeah, before we go any further, of course, we'd always like our viewers to know that we at the Fred and Winnie B&B, we did
My
put
favorite
out
advert.
your favorite advert. Can
Yeah.
you say it? Can you? Do you think you can?
I only know
recite it?
like 3 lines.
What are the 3 lines?
Tropical fruits,
Tropical.
deluxe doubles,
Uh-huh.
pick up and drop off from the airport.
Why
Yeah,
are they your favorite lines?
those
I
are the ones.
understand the tropical fruits, but now you've forgotten the part of the chef
The chef,
catering
yeah,
for you every meal.
I
That
know.
should be, I think, an important part for anyone that loves food.
Definitely. And I think, as you can see, food is one of my
Food is
likings.
key.
Yeah.
Food is bae. So anyway, just like you've had, 10 deluxe doubles, a kitchen, a chef to cater to you every meal, a power backup system, Wi-Fi, laundry. I mean, if you've been watching the podcast, we sing these things. So we're about to actually make a record out of this and just put it out. But there is also something that we are running on social media. If you can be able to put a spin of your own on this ad, then we are putting ourselves in position to give you a treat at the Fred and Winnie B&B, where you can enjoy a night with someone significant to you, or even by yourself. It may be just some self-love that you need. So just reach out with whatever spin to our Fred and Winnie B&B ad, and maybe you can be that lucky winner. For if you want to get reference, just watch our previous ad podcasts, and you'll be in position to see what the ad is all about. But we are at the Fred and Winnie B&B right now, shooting from this very, very beautiful and relaxing compound. It's a serene environment. As you can see, the building behind us is part of the Fred and Winnie B&B. But yes, just for those that actually want to do their own bookings and want to get discounts courtesy of the Fat Cats, simply call 0778 933 559, and you'll be able to get all the services available to you, and with a discount if you say that you are brought by the Fat Cats. Yeah. So anyway, away from that, first season done. It's also important to note that you guys have been, of course, just to fact check here and there, we'll have to do that later. But I believe, from the knowledge of rugby that I have, that you could be the team that has had the easiest or the shortest period before they qualify for the top ranks in rugby. Most of the teams usually take longer. This is your second season, and it's even surpassing your own strategic plan of 5 years to qualify in the second year. So from the disappointment of year one, of season one, ever having a rugby team compiled and put in a competitive setting, what changed? What do you think was the spark this season, from the way you started with not having any substitutes? I don't want to count the sponsor as a sub. To this season where you look like you have a full 40-man squad, where you were head above the rest for ideally, let's say, the whole season, and also looked really, really a threat throughout the playoffs. What was the difference this year?
I think the difference this year was the boys knew what they wanted. Yeah. When a team is playing with a purpose, they definitely play way better. I'll just give you an example of the final.
Okay.
The first 20 minutes were very tight for Eagles. Warriors was playing hard, but I think after that water break, there's that first water break in first half. The boys knew that they had to get the job done, and you could see throughout the game they wanted it more. They were in the game properly. Like, I was on so much pressure actually during the game, but
I could see you literally must have walked like 3 kilometers.
I during the game I don't think I could even breathe. The first 20 minutes first shocked me, so I was just very unsettled. But I think after the first try, I became a little bit more calm, and I think the boys got more gas. They grew into the game. Yeah, but I would say what changed this year is playing with purpose. Yeah, last year we were playing, and everyone knew the vision, but they didn't know with what purpose.
Okay.
What are we playing for? So this year the boys got to know what they are playing for, and they played very well. This, and of course this year the planning started last year. Yeah, last year was really tough. That one I can tell you personally. I played last year, and those games were very exhausting, and I think we weren't fit enough last year against our competition. So last year we started training last year actually, and I think the teams in the Central League were very shocked. That's why we're putting up those big scores of probably 135, 96. Yeah.
Maybe just to go back on this, I wanted to paint a picture of, ideally, you at a young age deciding to go into management, where many, especially rugby players from high school, who would have, that there's that one dream that, man, I want to get into a club and play club rugby. There's always that boss that, man, may I play club rugby.
Yeah.
How did you make that decision for you that, I don't know, like, it's something actually, honestly, on a personal level, that always baffles me about you, that how you just decided that, you know what, me, I'm going to be in management. Management comes with its own different kind of stress that sometimes needs a level head. Maybe even you should have a wife at home who can be able to tell you, man, everything's going to be kawa. It needs a certain level of financial stability. It needs a certain level of expertise in management. But you went in deep, and here we are now. How has that been, and why? What really enticed you so much to take that journey instead of being a player?
What enticed me to go into management? As I was thinking about it, first of all, I looked ahead. I was at that time I was just going into university, and I wasn't sure how my course was going to be, but I wanted to stay within the rugby circles. So at first I was like, let me just stay within management and then see how probably the first year of university goes, and maybe as time goes on I'll go into playing. The reason why I played last year is because, well, obvious, we had a short number of players. We didn't have enough players, so I
Where did the
decided.
players come from this year?
I think last season
Mm.
everyone got to see that we were playing good rugby.
Yeah.
The guys within my year and the guys slightly below me, they got to see we were playing good rugby, and people want playing time.
So the average age of your team is ideally 21, 22.
Yeah,
You don't have any veterans like 30?
I think I'm the oldest in Eagles from what
Okay.
I'm the oldest. Apart from Arthur and Edmond, within our age category, I'm the oldest. Yeah.
I think we're going to bring you some veterans. I think myself, Edwin, we shall see how to pray him back to fitness. We shall maybe also see how to get Dexter back. We might need some, where you're going, you might need some old heads.
With where we are going in the league, I think that decision has to be made by a number of people, not just me, but I think that decision is best made by the director of rugby, which is at this point also Edmond. Yeah, because I think the reason why we have succeeded at Eagles is because everyone plays their role and they play it well. We don't interfere with each other's roles.
Okay.
I can't go and tell Edmond that this person should start. He knows who should start. That's his department.
Okay.
Arthur knows how much the team should get. That's his department. Where should we get the sponsorship from? That's my department. URU and all those technicalities, that's my area. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is it working with trying to get more sponsorship, trying to handle the daily operations of the club, also rubbing shoulders with some of the authorities in the union and also other stakeholders? How is that happening for you?
It's a learning experience. That's all I can say, because obviously you gain experience with age.
Yeah.
I think in this area of management, and I'm learning every time, because I don't also serve in Eagles. I also serve as the treasurer for Central Uganda Rugby Association. That's Cura. And I think you can see with this new Cura XCOM, there's more, you can see more Cura visible, more tournaments are coming up. So it's a learning experience, because I'm learning from Charles Senteza, that's the chairman of Cura, Mr. Kasasa, who is in URU. I'm learning from a lot of people, even Edmond himself. Edmond really has a lot of experience. So the best way to say it is it's a learning experience for me, but it's definitely amazing. And they're also understanding. Yeah, that's the best way I can describe the situation in management right now.
Have you gotten anyone undermine you because of your age, or not really?
In I think maybe
Not
when
necessarily
looking,
in your club, but in all the rugby operations that you've had to do.
I think just when looking for sponsorship, I think that's why I've faced it, because obviously Edmond and Arthur can't look for everything. Sometimes I'd be looking for sponsorships, and of course they're like, you're a child, like how? Yeah. So I think that's why I've faced it. But within rugby itself, no. I think within rugby everyone has been very supportive towards me. Yeah, union, Cura, even my year mates have been supportive. I don't feel like I've been undermined. Yeah.
Okay. There's something we talked about on the previous podcast when you were here, and you said you were shocked to know how much it cost to even just have a pitch maintained.
Yeah.
So just walk us a little bit in what a week of Eagles, from the chairman's perspective or from the president's perspective, is. How is a week in Eagles Rugby Club?
Okay, so basically Tuesday and Thursday are training days. Um, we train from 4:30 to around 7:30, obviously, because we don't have floodlights. Yeah, so we are definitely looking into that also. Saturday, let me say Saturday is game day. Preparation has to start on Thursday evening. Players have to know what time we have to arrive at Chitante. If it's an away game, if it's home, who is going to mark the pitch? Is the grass slashed? If we're going away, we have to pay for the bus, because when we have away games, we use Chitante Primary School's bus. Have we paid for the fuel? Is the bus available itself? So all that has to happen on Thursday. So that on Friday we just have a small run through of how the day will go. You have to make sure breakfast is ready for the boys when they come. Is their tea ready? Yeah. So basically Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah.
Okay. So is all this in the kitty bag that is brought by company, the company?
So we have a different we have different sponsors.
Okay.
So it's not just company shoes and bags clinic. We have different sponsors. We have Urban Credit, we have Chint, we have Abbas, we have Veka. So all of them chip in at a point to help us with our travels, and of course other individuals. Yeah, like Madame Stella. So it's not just a one company sponsoring us. We have a different number of individuals and companies. They all chip in at a particular point. You can say maybe this week, for example, when we're going to Ginger, company shoes and bags clinic sponsored us. We actually slept in Ginger on Friday night because
Okay.
Saturday was going to be Matters Day. All of them chip in at different points. Yeah.
Okay. So talking about the Rugby Premiership, are you excited or are you scared?
I would say we're excited. However, the planning for next year, like we did in Central League, starts this year. So of course I've been trying to get some information, as I think I spent my whole afternoon at URU HQ on Monday, because as I told you, I also serve on Cura. So we first did the sevens draws for this weekend for the sevens, but I also stayed and was asking the people at HQ. I was looking at the checklist for the URU audit. I mean, there's a lot of work we have to do at Eagles. I think
Yeah.
we have a lot to do this year between now and next year. So yeah, I would say we're excited, but there's a lot of work to do. Yeah.
Do you think the team is currently in a position to really put up a fight in the Premiership, or are you going to go around scouting? Perhaps maybe with the sevens or the top flight sevens also coming up. Maybe there are a couple of players you'll have to also approach and maybe promise a few things here and there.
I think all that depends on one word: funding. Yeah. So even at this hour, we are looking for sponsorship.
But
Yeah.
it seems like
So
you have quite a number that you had mentioned. Aren't they sufficient enough? I know there's never something as enough money, but
the for the how do I say it? There have been good sponsors to us, but with where the league is
yeah.
and what we would want to achieve, we would need more sponsors on board.
Okay.
Yeah, because for some of the companies that we're dealing with, that's the best they can give us. You get, but if we look at other companies, they can probably give us a larger amount, which would also be able to facilitate what we'd want to achieve, but still with these other sponsors because they've been with us from the start. Yeah.
So how do you plan to manage the situation of, let's say, you've gotten someone who's giving you perhaps 100 million, and then you've had these guys who have stood by you from the inception?
They can all stay. They can all stay.
Who
The,
who
we,
gets the front position in the jersey then?
the person who gets the front position
So
here
if
on
you
the
get
jersey.
someone giving you 100 million, do you
No, it's the
job
person who
company?
pays the most. Yeah.
But
That's
then a club like, I mean, a company like Company Shoes and Bags
it has
has
to
been
stay on
there.
the kit. It has to stay on the kit.
You
Yeah.
just move the
They're the
position.
sponsor, they're the owner also. So they know it's best for business. But with the sponsors, would want all of them to stay because they're also benefiting, and we want to give them more exposure because I feel like the league gives a lot of the brands exposure. Yeah. And we also have a community aspect within Eagles, which would also be of use to those sponsors. We also have Eagles Rugby Foundation. Within Eagles, we help a few kids within Chitante to pay for some fees because it's a UPE school, and it's a way of us giving back to the school. We also have a rugby academy within Chitante.
Actually, that's one that you've just read my what would have been my next question.
Yeah.
Like, you guys are at Chitante, but are you introducing rugby to the school?
Yeah.
Because when you're going to the Rugby Premiership, it's not enough to just have a fast team. You need to have continuity. You need to think about continuity for years to come, especially if you want to be consistent and still relevant at the top flight. At how do you remain churning out talent that is keeping you competitive? So
Yeah.
that's something that I was really wondering.
Yeah. We set up the rugby academy towards the end of last year. So if those sponsors are still on board, of course they can help us with the branding for the academy and all the other necessities. So yeah, we definitely need more sponsors on board. Not removing these sponsors we have, but adding more onto the table. Yeah.
Also, as you're talking about making sponsors happy, have you thought about your strategy for, let's say, marketing online? Since that is where a lot
Yeah.
of the traction is coming from, especially with rugby. How are you planning to give them value? We have seen clubs like Pirates and Hippos and Impis
Yeah.
with the way they really try to engage and they try to align with their brand.
Yeah.
How are you planning to also have a piece of that?
I would say the Eagles fans are very young and they are all on social media, and the traffic we have on our pages is a little bit more than other clubs, which is an advantage to those sponsors. So because most of our fans are within university, that's an advantage to us, an advantage to the sponsor. So I think it all lies within the fans. And we now that we're in the league, I think we've got a few more fans, but I think all this is done. It all comes back to one thing, and it's the same thing that we apply to Central League. More talking on the pitch. Yeah, the better you perform, the more fans and the more people coming in, the more socials, the more sponsors are attracted to you. Yeah, and it's always also not about winning because I think in the same year Heathens won the league, Hima left them.
Yes.
Yeah,
You see,
so
one thing people forget is with many of these sponsors, it's not about how many trophies you have. If
Yeah.
your trophies cannot give you the traction that you need, the media eyeballs, if they can't give you the media publicity, the social media traction, if there is no way a sponsor is saying that they are getting value, does not necessarily have to be directly them consuming the product, but how are they getting awareness? And that's what many clubs forget, that your trophy could matter less if there is no value there.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the things that will be a challenge for you to really figure out. But maybe I just wanted to ask also. So is the club going to be kept in a state of we are a fairly youthful club? that our style is with the younger demographic of, let's say, perhaps 20 to 25? Or is there any strategy of also enticing and attracting the older, the 30s, the seasoned people to also be part of what you guys are building?
Yeah, I would like to say that that strategy is already being worked on. You also have to take it into point that there's um there's a lot of planning to be done.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some questions that I'll just have to tell you the planning is being done, because as we go through the year, we are learning more and we are seeing what we have to do. But I feel like we can accommodate everyone as long as they know the vision and mission of Eagles.
Okay.
Yeah, it's to grow the sport within Uganda, not just Kampala, but within Uganda. Yeah,
Okay.
and bring in more people to the sport, attract more people to the sport, basically improve rugby in Uganda, and make it more professional. Yeah, like in terms of time management, just the basics actually, I would say. Yeah.
So, tell us about the culture at Eagles. Usually, every club has its culture, the way it does its things,
Mm.
from management to the leadership group, how things are supposed to be done. Have you already, in the 2 years of competitiveness, established a culture within the team that maybe this is what needs to be done, this is how we need to communicate, this is, I mean, just paint that for me.
Yeah. Okay. So the best word to answer your question is family. We are a family, and we are brothers. We fight for each other, and actually that's the way we won the league. Yeah. We are brothers. We are family, and we have to fight for one another.
Okay.
I would say that's our culture. There is no difference between me or a player or Arthur or Edmond. We are all a family. We are all brothers, and we all have the same goal. Yeah, there's no saying, oh, Adam is president. What? No, we are all at the same level, and we are all equal. Yeah, there's no favoritism. I think even with player selection, that would be the best example. There is no favoritism. Whoever has trained, whoever has shown most potential is the one that plays. Yeah.
Um, one of the things that has just come to my mind is you need to know that the biggest challenge for teams in the mid-table and at the bottom of the table in the Premiership, the top tier of rugby in Uganda, is the biggest challenge they have is player retention. I will give you an example of firsthand the club that I played with. Like looking at some of the players in the different teams that they went to from Warriors. Warriors, if they were in a position to be able to keep all those players put at the club, I believe it would be a competitor at least top four, if not top three, every year. So the biggest challenge you might have to face, especially when you have, I mean, I saw the number 10 play over the weekend. Everyone that was sitting next to me was just in awe at how a young man was controlling the game so well. By the way, credit to Edmond, to Musime, who also is a former 10. I'm sure he's getting first-hand mentorship, but the way Eagles played with structure was very, very amazing. But the challenge with showing so much ability is that many of the big teams are going to come calling with that thing of pedigree that, you know what, I am Heathens, I am Cobs, I am Pirates, I am so and so. Come and play for me. I guarantee you national team sport. I guarantee you a trophy of the Premiership. So how are you going to enable that you do not fall in the same trap that many clubs are fallen in, and which puts them in a loop of lose players, get new players, keeping the same level?
I think what we offer the players, I doubt they can get somewhere else.
Okay.
That's all I can say. I don't want to give so much details, but I think what we offer at Eagles, no other club can offer them. Yeah, they may have more money, but what we're offering them is I really don't know how to explain it. Let me give you an example. Um, when we won on Saturday, there's a player that came to me and he said, I just don't want to go back to the village, and I would like to thank you guys for where you've brought me. And it touched me so much. That's the honest truth. And there I know that that player definitely understands what Eagles has done for him, and where he has reached, and he has also helped us. So basically, it's a win-win situation. So I would say I don't think that situation has happened to us before. I won't lie, but I think what we were offering the player was better than what was being given. Yeah.
Okay. I think one of the things I've noticed is that you've gotten Eagles has gotten stick for its jersey, its current jersey. Many have been saying it is football like. Are you guys playing in the UPL? Are there any plans for a new jersey next season?
Of course, that has to it has to happen. We have to have a new kit
And should we assume that black and orange are the
around
brand
the club.
colors?
Yes, black and
Okay.
orange.
So it would be interesting to see how that next
Yes,
jersey is going to look.
yeah.
Yeah. But
But as
also
you
aside from that, I
yeah,
think yeah.
as you know,
Uh,
the kit also can't be designed yet. Of course, there are concepts, but it can't be designed yet because you may get a sponsor on board who wants their color. Yeah, like let me say with Pirates, we knew that their colors were black and red.
Pirates colors have always been black, red, and I think there's a bit of white, there's a bit of blue somewhere,
Yeah, but
but black and red dominant.
I didn't see there's no red in this new kit. I think that's because of the sponsor, I think. So we can't yet get a kit because of obviously we're looking for sponsorship now that we're in the Premiership. So we have to wait for that, yeah.
I haven't been watching a lot of Eagles Championship games, but has Eagles gotten an intro song yet?
Uh,
It's a very
actually
important decision when
actually
you're getting into the Premiership.
we have a song. We have a
Uh-huh.
song that the players recorded themselves,
Oh, you
and
have your own
we have
song.
our own song
Okay.
that the players recorded themselves, and Edmond helped us record it. Recorded it there at Span House when we were still there. Yeah, that song is there. It exists. However, you never know. The players may want to change their song. Yeah, but we have our own. We have our own song. Yeah, that the players themselves
Good
recorded.
luck. Good luck moving to the different grounds with your own flash because no one has that song.
Yeah.
Because everywhere you go, when you're going to visit Chadondo, whether Kings Park, wherever you have to go, when the team is getting onto the pitch, that means you have to go DJ, play that song, play that song.
I think the players will decide what's best for them when the time comes. Yeah.
So, in your journey as president, has there been a point where you've had doubts about this project?
Um, I wouldn't say doubts. I think I was just asking myself how long it would take. I think it was during COVID. Yeah, COVID was a little bit tough for us. Yeah, we didn't have a solid number of players. Basically, we were looking at other aspects within rugby. But my advice to any person who wants to start a rugby club is look at the rugby aspect. Period. Look for players and make sure they play. The rest will come by itself. The social media, the fans, they will come by themselves. I think that yeah.
Does that also include the business angle of it?
No, the
Because at
business.
the end of the
No, no, no,
day,
no, no.
some bills have to always be paid.
Yeah, and actually, the best way I look at Eagles is sport is business. If you don't look at sport as business, then it will just be mediocre. Yeah, but you have to remember that sport is a business. Yeah,
So, would you say that promotion this year is your biggest validation for all the hard work you've put in?
definitely, definitely. Yeah, for this year, promotion was. I felt like a stone was lifted off me when the final whistle was blown. Promotion was we definitely wanted it. Yeah. Yeah.
So, how about the lowest points for you in this journey that you've had? What maybe one or two of the points that you're like, man, is this even worth it, man?
Lowest point was Eagles versus Box.
last year.
Yeah, yeah. That was a really low point. It was a really low point. It was. I really don't know how to describe it. I think even when that confusion came around last year, we didn't even say anything. We didn't even come out. We just kept quiet. It was a tough time because we thought we'd make it and go for playoffs, but we didn't. We let ourselves down. Yeah, and I think that's what has motivated everyone within Eagles to now achieve promotion. Promotion just doesn't come from the coach or the manager or me. It comes from all of us, being on the same wavelength. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So, ideally, just looking at the whole Eagles project and how everything is moving, and also looking at the weekend, how you were able to triumph past Warriors and in a tight game. I know it was 13-0, but it was
Yeah.
tight for all those that watched the
It was very tight.
resilient defense
Yeah.
at the beginning, and then just turning on the offensive masterclass. What has been your best moment from like the weekend after the final whistle? What like a message that stood out for you? Maybe a moment that stood out for you. Just share that with us.
I would say there are many.
But there are those that are a bit
There are
PG.
there are very many. Let me just give I think three. Number one would be us lifting the trophy. I just couldn't believe it. Number two, when we had just started out, I was having a lot of conversations with a lot of people, trying to explain to them what we are doing. And I think on Monday, Coach Timothy Modola DM'd me and just said, "Congratulations." I remember when you told me about this, and it really touched me because he remembered when I talked to him. Yeah. And the other moment would be, I think, yesterday's training. Yeah. Yesterday's training. Yesterday's training also happened to be Arthur's birthday. Arthur Company, our main sponsor. Yeah. And team manager. It was his birthday yesterday, and I think the way we appreciated him as a team um, was really a sign of how much we all appreciate him and how far he has brought all of us as individuals, not just me, not just any other player, but all of us as a group. Yeah. And celebrating that win with him within the same week of our promotion, it was definitely amazing. Yeah, as I said earlier on the Twitter space that I think we can't celebrate yet. So yesterday was our party somehow. We can't celebrate yet. We have 3 weekends of sevens, which are 2 day, both Saturday and Sunday. So basically we can't have any celebration yet. It's straight back to business, straight back to training. Yeah.
How do you motivate the players to now switch their mindsets into sevens after a triumphant week? I mean, some of them might still be in celebratory
Yeah,
mode.
the Packers can go and drink. The big boys can go and drink, but actually, even the big boys came in for training yesterday. I think there's a lot of thirst to play. I think they can't believe it that the season is done. Yeah, that the next matches they have probably Uganda Cup. Yeah, but last year in July when we met to talk as a team, uh, we all explained the vision to ourselves. Everyone knew what we had to achieve. Just before we started the trainings, we met and we talked to ourselves and we knew what had to be done. And one target has been achieved. That's promotion in 15s, and now the next target is sevens. Yeah, we're hopeful for these tournaments. Yeah, but we're also just trying here. We hope we get promoted. It's not a sure. Sevens and 15s are totally different. So we are hopeful for this tournament, and let's see what it has to offer for us. Yeah.
Okay, that's particularly interesting. So I have noticed that you were part of a rugby foundation project. I don't know if that's how it is called. But maybe just enlighten us. Aside from the rugby, how is Eagles giving back to the community? How are you guys impacting the community in whatever way you are?
Yeah, so the way we are giving back to the community, number one would be the Eagles Rugby Foundation.
Okay.
That's why we collect some funds for fees
Mm,
for a few struggling children.
okay.
At the moment within Chitante, a few. For those who can contribute, please contribute. We also have the Rugby Academy where we are trying to train a few boys and girls within Chitante, some rugby. Yeah, and basically that's it at the moment. That's the way we are giving back to society as it goes. Yeah.
Okay. Um, the Uganda Cup is coming up in a couple of months.
Yeah.
It will be your first real test of 15s rugby with the elite teams.
Yeah.
Do you think the squad that you have, especially in the forwards, is sufficient enough to put up a fight?
Um.
And maybe also a part B of that. And what would be satisfactory for you in the Uganda Cup?
We're looking at for the Packers. They just need, I think, more training. Yeah. More training in the scrums, the lineouts, the more technical areas of rugby.
Is the size that you have sufficient for top flight rugby?
Um. I think it's sufficient enough, but not to the top three, I would say.
Mm.
Yeah, but definitely, I feel like the players need more training. Yeah, we all need more training, and Uganda Cup will be a learning experience. Yeah, so I feel like we have an advantage of Uganda Cup because we'll be training for the league. Yeah.
Okay, and what stage do you think would be would you as president would be okay? Now I'm satisfied. I know because usually the big boys meet. I want to call them the smaller
Small
boys
boys.
in the round of 16, and then there is a round of 8, which is the quarters, and then semis and onwards like that. So, what would be your target in the Uganda Cup?
Would definitely want to win the shield within the Uganda Cup.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a realistic target. Yeah, that's what we'd want to achieve. Yeah.
The Rugby Premiership is where you're going now.
Yeah.
You're going to be playing with the big boys. Where do you think, ideally, envisioning? I know you're a very realistic man, and I appreciate that. Even from the space you did talk about that the target that you're talking, the plan that you're looking at was 5 years or so, and not just a short-term thing, and just being wishful thinking. Oh my God, we're going to win the league in like 1-2 years.
Yeah.
Even 5 years is a bit hard, but
Yeah.
yeah. But where do you think Hippos will? I mean, rather Eagles will finish next season in the Premiership? What
Um
position?
Hopefully mid-table. That's what we hope for.
Mid-table.
Mid-table, because if we're able to get the right funding,
Okay.
we'll be able to have the resources to reach mid-table. Yeah. Because the I think we all know the top three teams in Uganda. They're really ahead, but from the other clubs. But what I'm liking is that the clubs are slowly reaching the top three. You have Hippos, you have Buffaloes. I mean, for me, Buffaloes is a side that I'm looking at for next season to be very, very dangerous. Yeah, because they put up a good show this season. I mean, the teams are coming up. Impis is no longer the team we used to know it for. They're now putting up good wins, playing good rugby. So rugby in Uganda is definitely growing. So we hope to finish mid-table. Yeah, hopefully.
So are your players already in a position to want to rub shoulders with the big boys? Don't you have a couple of players who, one of the biggest challenges as a person who has been in a team that had to go into the Super 8, which was the Super 8 at the time, you get to play against people you watch on random weekends. Like, you go from 1 year where it's Cobs versus Heathens, and you are watching it in the stands, to Cobs versus your team, and you are lining up against Michael Korach and everything like that. how are you guys mentally preparing the boys for things like that?
Um,
Because they are going to be playing against their idols.
I think that all goes down to training. Yeah, breaking your barriers. The last training sessions we had towards this final.
Okay.
I think Coach Edmond really was able to make sure that all the players broke through their barriers.
Mm.
I mean, let me say you say that this training I can only do 100 push-ups, and Edmond would make these guys just break that barrier. And let me say they would do like 250. Like they would break the barrier. So I think it all goes down to training, because you have to know the guys you're now playing have been there for a while. I mean, like Michael, when Michael was here, he was, I think when he joined rugby, I wasn't even in high school. Like I when I was listening to that podcast, I was like, I'm really young, yeah. So now imagine you're playing against such a person who has been in rugby for that long before you even knew rugby. Yeah. So you definitely have to train on a whole other level. And I think Michael properly phrased it through discipline.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you have really depicted a particular liking to leadership, from being president of Eagles to now being treasurer with Central Uganda Rugby Association. What are your ambitions with rugby, or
Uh,
with sport in general, I should say? You never know where the world can throw you.
um I can't say, of course I would want to be, you know, I don't know, like URU president or something, but with all those things you have to serve. You just don't reach there.
Mm.
You have to serve. You have to know rugby from its grassroots, from the bottom to the top. You have to know what is happening at each level, and I think there's still a lot of learning to do for me to even say I want to be here or I want to do this here. I feel like there's still a lot of training, but I'm comfortable within Cura, and
Okay.
I think the us as the Cura XCOM, we are doing to the best of our ability, um, trying to trying to make sure a lot of players have more playing time.
Okay.
Yeah, within the Cura, because we felt like the reserve sides, I would say, didn't have a lot of playing time.
Mm.
The women's teams didn't have a lot of playing time, and that's what we are trying to improve within the central region. Yeah.
Yeah, especially now, looking like at our neighbors who have the I think it's called the Eric Shally something, which is their second division, but the
Yeah.
teams there are fiercely competitive.
Yeah.
What are the steps we're taking to really also have our league be at that level? I mean, we still have okay, now it is starting to slowly change, but we were having a league where we're having reserve sides playing against teams that are actually vying to go into the top 10. But how are we planning to make even our second division stronger?
Um, I would say more competition is achieved through more playing time. You can't have competitive sides if they are not playing.
Yeah.
Period. If they are not playing, they can't be competitive. Now let me give you an example of like next season. Next season, is going to be a very competitive season within the Central League. You're going to have Warriors. You're going to have Rams. You're going to have Chambogo. I mean, all those are amazing teams. So if we can just get more playing time for them, then they will definitely become more competitive. That's why you see with these Cura Sevens, we're having 2-day circuits, and there are 16 teams, not just the 5 that are independent.
Yeah.
It's 16 teams, so there's going to be a lot of playing time for everyone. There are also the women's games, so it's definitely going to be more interesting as we go on as Cura. Yeah.
Okay. So aside from all the rugby, who's Kabalega Adam? I just want to know, like, man, what's your favorite music? Where do you like hanging out from? Tell us for those that are really watching and they're like, who's
Uh,
this guy? Yeah?
my name is Kabalega Adam.
Mm.
Um, soon to be 23 years of age. I was born on 29th June, so my birthday is in a few days. I've just finished university from MUBS. I was doing procurement and supply chain management,
Oh, you're doing the same course as I did.
uh,
Interesting.
and sports sponsorship, which is rugby. So rugby has funded me throughout university. Um, what else is there to know about me? I like dancehall music
Hmm.
a lot.
Can you dance?
Yeah. I
Are you
can't
sure?
I can't listen to any other. I can't listen to amapiano. I can't listen to trap. Like I can't. I can only
Mm.
listen to dancehall. That's why the people who stay with me really suffer, because the times when I wake up early, the first thing I do is play music. So probably I can play Conscience at like 6 a.m.
Bro,
and
conscience at 6 a.m.
and my day would
Even
go,
conscience can't play conscience at 6 a.m.
and my day would go so well. Actually, whenever I don't play dancehall music in the morning, my day goes so bad.
Mm.
Um, I love rugby. I really love rugby.
Is rugby the only sport you follow?
No, I follow F1. I follow
Mm.
F1. I'm a big
Hamilton,
yes.
Verstappen. You look like a Verstappen
No,
guy.
I'm a Hamilton guy all
Oh,
the
okay.
way through. I really don't like Verstappen. Yeah. Though he's an amazing driver. Of course, my heartbreak is when we lost in 2021. Yeah, I used to swim when I was earlier on, but I let go of swimming.
Mm.
Yeah. What else is there to know?
Do
I
you
like
consider
food.
yourself a romantic?
Ruben, those are tough questions.
Mm?
Those are tough
It's a simple
questions.
question.
Yeah, I like being a kind person to everyone.
Not a kind person. Now the politician in you is coming out. Eh?
Yeah, okay, I'm a romantic. I think I'm a romantic.
What's the most romantic thing you've ever done?
No, 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 no. I don't want my boys to have me. I'm
Hey, you
sure.
think your boys don't know that you're romantic?
I'm sure Checky is going to have me. I can't say it. My boy Checky will have me. Yeah, I think what else is there to know about me? Um I work at Oriman Company Advocates. I, w-
Okay.
I work within the business development side, but I also happen to fall under other departments. I've worked there since December 2019. I
Mm.
think the same time as Eagles. I've been working there since a sixth VAC, but with time I grew into the company, so I'm now there properly. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think that's it. Yeah.
They had one more question to ask, but let me just chill. Let me forgive you. So, I think I'll now let you use this opportunity to just share with all the viewers, the rugby well wishers, and the Eagles fans about really what they should know about Eagles, about maybe yourself as well, about maybe any plans. If you have any gratitude you'd like to extend,
Yeah.
this is the opportunity.
I would like to thank all the fans that came out to support Eagles this weekend. We really appreciate. I would like to thank our sponsors, company Shoes and Bags Clinic, Urban Credit, Abbas, Veka. Now this has become a song. As
Mm.
president, I have to thank sponsors. I would like to thank my friends who have been so supportive to me throughout this journey, my family, especially my parents. Um, I remember in high school, it was so, when you're going for nationals, you have to get your parents' approval.
Mm.
And I think I wanted to go for nationals so badly in S4. And my dad agreed and mom. So I'd like to thank my parents. Um, I would like to thank the players of Eagles. They have made our dream come true. I would like to thank Edmond for his efforts into the team. I would like to thank Madame Stella for all the funding. I would like to thank Mr. Arthur Company for bringing all of us in to achieve this mission that we wanted, and we still have a lot to do. For any players that want to join Eagles, please get in touch with me. Um, yeah, and to the fans, there's still a lot to offer them. For those who want merchandise, it will be coming soon. We're planning for it because a lot of people wanted merchandise. Yeah, and I would just like to thank everyone that has supported us on this journey. I would like to thank, how could I forget? I would like to thank Mr. Educate, who trained me throughout high school. He also exposed us to other coaches, Wanyama, Nathan, Rujumba. He really bought Corey. He bought the best players he could to train us. I would like to thank all those players that came to train us in my year when we were in Budo. Yeah, I would like to thank Fat Cats for this platform to enable us to tell our story, where we have come from. Yeah, so basically that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, saving the best for last, Fat Cats. I've just remembered one thing before we go.
Yeah.
So, with the Rugby Premiership coming up, and
Mm.
now Special being the sponsor of the Rugby Premiership,
Mm.
is Chitante going to be the home of rugby for Eagles, especially when it's a school and you're going to have a lot of drunkards come to watch your game?
Mm.
So, how are you maneuvering that?
We are looking into that. Yeah, we definitely know of where we are located and the issues regarding it, and we're going to look into it. But as per now, we are still at Chitante. Chitante has been good to us. Madame Jane, the headmistress, has been good to us. Actually, um, she has supported us throughout this journey. Even her son plays for the team.
Oh, that's great.
Her son is actually the 10. Keith
Oh,
Mugisha. Yeah,
Hassan is the 10.
yeah.
Okay.
So, um, we shall look into it. Everyone has been asking us that same question ever since Saturday, but we shall see what to do about that. But be rest assured that Eagles will be in the league next year. Yeah.
Okay. Well, it's been an interesting conversation. We did promise a couple of podcasts ago that we shall have a full Eagles podcast, and luckily it is in not a case of regret, but it is in a case of celebration that they are finally going to the Rugby Premiership, having won the URU Championship and having been promoted 13-0 against the Warriors over the weekend. And with us today has been Kabalega Adam, who is the president, and I also had the privilege of interviewing him and watching him as he was captain of King's College Budo. So that really shows that the leadership really comes from far when it comes to him. A very, very I should say, brilliant young man. And from the Fat Cats and myself, I want to really say that congratulations to you. It's no mean feat, no easy feat rather, to have a team go to the Rugby Premiership, the top of rugby in Uganda. So I really am happy for you in that regard, whether it was against my team or any team.
Yeah.
I really congratulate you on that. And for those that are well wishers of Eagles and those that are fans and friends of Mr. Kabalega Adam, don't forget to subscribe to the Fat Cats Rugby podcast, and also on our social media platforms. Hit that follow button, hit that like button, so that we can be able to engage on a daily with different aspects of what we have to offer, from the banter side to the educational side to the informative side. That's what the Fat Cats are all about. There's a lot coming up. We have our 1 year celebration also coming up, so look out for communication in regards to that. Otherwise, thank you for being a part of this episode, and see you next week. Cheers.